So Apple just released a new iPhone today, and honestly it took me off guard and it caught a lot of other people off guard. But honestly, this phone looks legit. You know, if you think back to when the iPhone 6, iPhone 7 came out, they also came out with an iPhone SE. And basically what the iPhone SE was, it was the iPhone 6, but at a more affordable price with not so many of the same features. Now, the iPhone 16e is the new phone that they just announced this morning. And honestly, it looks really legit. So let's go over some of the specs for this because there's a lot I want to talk about. So as you can see, it's, you know, the latest iPhone with the greatest price. And I love this because, you know, it's very affordable, because when you look at that compared with the regular iPhone 16 and 16 Pro, this is like $200 cheaper than those. And so I think that's one of the reasons why I'm excited about this, because more people will be able to afford it. Now, let's just get down into brass tacks here, and let's talk about some of the highlights of it. So if you go back to this real quick, it's beautiful, durable design built to last. And so if you're anything like me, I'm going to bring this full circle. I'm going to tell you guys a bit of a story real quick. So back in 2015, I had the iPhone 16. Not the iPhone 16. I had the iPhone 6, is what I meant to say. And honestly, I was sitting there at work, getting ready to go to work. I was locking up my apartment, and I dropped my phone. Now, if you're anything like me and you drop your smartphone, instant panic happens. You're just like, oh my gosh, like what just happened? So sure enough, the phone spider cracked. The screen spider cracked. I was pissed. I was frustrated. My roommate was making fun of me. He's like, haha, you dropped your phone. That sucks for you. And I'm just like, laugh it up, fuzzball. Like, I had that kind of mentality. And I remember when I ended up getting the screen replaced, it cost me over $116 at Apple, because I figured, because I'd had a previous experience with the first generation iPhone where I had a private person fix the screen and it ruined any warranty that I may have had on that phone. So I decided, well, I'm just going to cut my losses and go to Apple and get them to fix this. And it cost me $116. So going back to this, I love the fact that it says beautiful, durable design built to last. That is something that makes me excited about. So, I mean, I just alone sells me right on this phone. But when you look at the next part, it says powered by the Apple Intelligence, powered by the A18 and the latest generation chip, which is so cool. So we're going to pause it right here because I really want to talk about this, because if you're anything like me, your phone is always on you. I always have my phone with me, and knowing that it's going to be up to 26 hours of video playback is amazing to me, and they've even said, and I'll even link the video down below. That was my YouTube screen, the recommended stuff. You guys don't need to see that. But that's just kind of the stuff, I guess, that the algorithm thinks I'm into. But I'll put a link in the description down below for you to watch the whole video announcement on this. I would play it for you guys, but Apple would also block the video if I did that. But going back to this, it's really interesting that it has that 26 hours of playback, because I'm always on my phone. This is one of my main components of my day, whether it be I'm sending a message to a coworker, to a friend, to a family member, or just watching the latest video, maybe from Tony, myself, hint, hint. Maybe you should subscribe if you haven't already, but if you're also getting value, make sure you subscribe. But going on with this, I love the fact that it has that. But if we continue on, we go to the next slide, it has this amazing 40 megapixel, all you need for one shoot. Now, coming from a content creator or even a photographer, this is something I've never seen before in a video. To be honest with you guys, I'm thoroughly impressed with this, because look, I'm gonna totally carbon date myself. I remember when you had the smartphone and you were able to zoom in just a little bit. It was the photos were pixelated, but it's still a pretty good shot nonetheless. Do I think that this will outrank or this will outdate DSLRs, SLRs, and other pro cameras? No, I don't think so at all, because this is coming from someone who's been a photographer since 2017. Smartphones are great and smartphone cameras are great, but there's just something about having a DSLR that's even better. But going back to this, I love the fact that it has so much detail. This I remember even on the iPhone 5 when I had because I had the white iPhone 50, the white iPhone 5, and I was so excited for it, and the megapixels were great. But knowing that you now have the 48 megapixel fusion camera, like, this is something out of this world. I remember the first camera that the first smartphone I ever had, which was an iPhone. It was the iPhone 3G. I bought it off a friend that was getting ready to go serve a service mission, and she didn't need it anymore. So I thought, shoot, I want to get a smartphone. I'm just going to buy the phone from her. And don't get me wrong, the phone was great. But knowing that I could now have this 48 megapixel camera on a phone just blows my mind. Knowing that not only do you get that great detail, but you get it at an affordable cost. Now, am I being paid by Apple to say that? No, I'm not. This is just someone who's always been an Apple nerd. Like, I'm a big tech nerd. I love this stuff. It's so cool. But going back to what we were talking about, I want to go on to the next portion, because this is something that a lot of people don't think about, and it is the 18. It has the iOS 18 with the customized style and mesmerized. So if you guys think back, I did a video right when the Apple iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max were announced, and it talked about customizing your home screen and changing the colors, and I just thought it was amazing. I'm going to bring this full circle so I can talk to you guys fully. And so I remember just saying like how cool that is. And now, granted, you could do that with a lot of the newer iPhones. You can you can change the colors, but it looks even better with an iPhone 16 or 16 Pro. But the cool thing about this guy right here is that you can still customize, stylize, and mesmerize at $200 less than you would if you had to pay for the whole 16 or 16 Pro Max or 16 Pro. Now, this is such a cool feature because I've kind of messed around with this on my phone. Now, granted, this is an iPhone 13 Pro Max. I'm going to be upgrading this here soon. And honestly, I might be tempted to just upgrade it to this, because this still has a lot of the same capabilities as the iPhone 16 or 16 Pro, but with less of the cost and more of the money back in your wallet. And if you're anything like me, saving money nowadays is essential. But going back to the next portion, because I'm so excited about this, and I love this right here. It's drop dead gorgeous. The iPhone 16e has an incredible design inside and out, but it also is built to go the distance and survive life's oops, whoops, and uh-ohs, and the oh-nos. Now, there's a question while I was watching the video. I have to ask this, and I'm going to ask this to you guys. Do you think the video is toddler-proof? Do you think the phone is toddler-proof? Because if you know of anyone, whether it be you're a parent, you're a son, or if you're an uncle, or you're an aunt, you know that toddlers love these guys. They love phones. I remember so many times when my nieces and nephews were like, hey, can I mess around with your phone? Or hey, can I do this? And I always had to make sure it was locked, and I had to keep an eye on them because I didn't want to break my phone, because it was my livelihood. It was, that's how people contacted me. Now, do you think the iPhone 16e is going to be toddler-proof? Make sure you tell me in the comments below, because I'm genuinely curious, because it talks about on the video that, again, I will post a link to that in the comments in the description below. Do you think it's toddler-proof? Do you think that this phone, if they were to give this phone to a toddler who's just rambunctious and crazy and just beating it on everything, if it would break? Or if it would be durable, or how long it would be durable for? Make sure you tell me in the comments below, because honestly, that's a question that I had on my mind. Would this be toddler-proof? Because I will eventually have kids, and I want to make sure that the phone I have is toddler-proof, because we all know that kids like to mess around with phones, as I mentioned, and they're not the most careful with them, unfortunately. But going back to this, I want to scroll down a little bit more, because this is where it's talking about that tougher than any smartphone glass. It's a fast track to your favorite feature. It has the USB-C, for everyone, which is amazing. I love the fact that it even talks about how it's stunning. It runs in the family, so I think that's something that's very interesting to me, because I'm someone, I don't know about you guys, but I watch a lot of my YouTube content. I watch a lot of my videos, whether it be through YouTube, TikTok, whatever you want to call it, or whatever you use. Honestly, I watch them on my phone. I don't, go to my computer often to watch videos unless I'm really wanting to watch like a live stream and really be involved in not just one live streamer but multiple live streams. I always go to my phone, and knowing that it has this great resolution for a video with the OLED display as the regular iPhone 16 really catches my attention. Now, it doesn't have the dynamic island, and that's one thing that I did notice, is that you can't get all the quirks and all the specialities. It has the notch that my iPhone 16 Pro, iPhone 16 Pro, I wish I had the iPhone 16 Pro right now, the iPhone 13 Pro Max has, but you still get a lot of great OLED display. Now, this is something that I'm really excited about, because this is something, it just says, the all-day battery life. We talked about this before, but I want to bring this full circle, because how many times have you, as a consumer, or just as someone who is on their phone all the time, let's say you're on break, you're at work, you've been having a bad day, you're watching a video on your break, on your lunch break, and all of a sudden your phone dies because you've been using it a lot and the battery just dies, and you're just like, well, that sucks. This is where this is where I live when I'm trying to escape reality. The coolest part about the iPhone 16e is that you have all-day battery life from dusk till dawn and beyond. They are a poet, and they didn't even know it. But I love the fact that it even says it has a supersized battery life, and it lasts up to 12 hours longer in your day, which is amazing. And it also has the Apple, including the first design. And this is something I want to bring your attention to. And this is something that is very important. It has the first Apple designed modem C1. This is the very first Apple designed modem that has ever come out on an iPhone. I love the fact that it has this, because this alone makes this iPhone 16e worth it to buy, because you're going to have the very first chip. Now, full disclosure, is this going to have some problems? More than likely. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very honest with you guys in this community. It probably will have its quirks, and it will probably have its cringes. It'll have its problems. It'll have its perks. Does that mean that it's going to be a terrible phone? No. That also means it's also going to be a very cost-friendly phone for those who love Apple products, but can't really afford to spend between $1,000 to $2,000 on an iPhone. Knowing that this is going to be $599 is amazing. But going back to it, I love the fact that it says, with 26 hours of playback, the more time to text, browse, and binge movies and shows. Because, like I said, I'm on my phone a lot, and knowing that this has 12 hours of battery life is amazing to me. Now, I'm so excited about this for a few reasons. Because I do have friends. I have friends that that sounded really bad. First off, I have plenty of friends. I have some friends who they love Apple products, but they feel like they can't fork out a huge amount of money for said products, whether it be a computer, phone, Apple Watch, whatever the case is, or whatever the piece of tech is. They feel like, I like the Apple products, but they're just not that great. I like the Apple products, but they just aren't cost efficient for me, not cost friendly. That's the great thing about this one, is that if I scroll all the way up, you're looking at paying only $5.99 or $24.95 a month for 24 months. That alone should make people who love Apple products but can't afford them excited. But going back to what we were just talking about, it has the supersized battery that we've already mentioned. It has this amazing A18 chip that all the current iPhone 16s have. And what better way to kind of finish off the iPhone 16 family than with this? Knowing that it's a cost-efficient phone. You get basically 90% of the same features as the iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Pro, but at less of the cost of those said phones. And it just blows me away knowing that, you know, your future is, this is exactly how I feel. You're future proof, you're fast. Future proof, you're fast is what I meant to say. I get excited about this kind of stuff. It has, because it has the latest generation chip. It has you can play games effortlessly. Compared to the performance of iPhone family, this thing is 80% faster than the iPhone 11, which is very amazing. And actually, I want to test something real quick. Okay, so it doesn't have the iPhone 13 Pro or iPhone 13 Pro Max, but this is the phone that I had before that. Okay, so if it's 50% faster than the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro, that tells me it's probably about between 30 to 40% faster than the iPhone 13 Pro Max that I have right now. Now, is that a great thing for me? That would be great, because the GPU performance alone is going to just enable me to do so much more. But honestly, guys, you know, you can make memories for years to come. This is something that I am so passionate about. I love tech. I love seeing how tech is evolving. This is something that I've just been blowing my mind for the past so many years, thinking that, like, you know, not only can we FaceTime or video chat with people on a smartphone device, but we get these crazy chips, you know, the A18, the C1 modem chip, all these crazy tech new advances, and it just blows my mind. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Like, does this really excite you about the iPhone? Does this make you think, okay, well, now I feel like I can afford the iPhone? Does it make you want to go out and buy the iPhone 16e? Make sure you tell me in the comments below, because honestly, this is something that I'm really excited for, because it's almost as if Apple heard the pleadings of those who can't afford the, you know, expensive the expensive Pro or just the expensive 16s. And they're like, okay, we hear you. And so now we're going to do this. We're going to come out with this amazing iPhone 16e, and just for you, so you can make memories for years to come and still feel like you're part of the coolest part of the internet, the iPhone, the Apple club that so many want to be a part of, but they cannot afford. But on that note, guys, make sure you tell me what your thoughts are on this, and I will see you in the next video.